Placement that we're going to talk about today is a very complicated decision. Different people have different thresholds. I don't have a formula for you. There is no formula for a difficult decision like this. We don't have rules that we grow up by how to make these kind of decisions. It's very individualized. And what I said earlier when the people in the front row could hear is I've never seen anyone place too early. There is no such thing. And there's no such thing as placing too late. It happens when it happens. No matter when in the process that we're going to talk about, you do decide this thing called placement. It's an emotional struggle, and it's very much, to many people, like a death. It's going to be accompanied by a lot of grief, a lot of second-guessing yourself. At what point does the caregiver need to make a decision not to give the care themselves, but to turn it over to somebody else and give care in a different way than you've been doing all along? Because that's the issue we're having today. One way to think of the placement facilities is they're like palliative care for memory. You're going to rehabilitate the memory, but it's not going to get better. So in other words, what you're doing is adding, ideally in placement, to quality of life. Because you as a caregiver can't go 24/7 and keep up with everything. They work in shifts. They have all kinds of strategies. They have all kinds of group settings you can't bring to home. Placement is really a treatment program for people with severe memory disorders. But it's palliative care, and it's not going to make them go to remember well enough to come home again. And that's what placement really is. So it needs to be chosen carefully. In fact, the tours, I encourage you, if you don't be threatened by the tours of all these facilities. I make tours often myself. Well, not anymore as much as I'm running too hard. But I've often visited many of the facilities, and I have a checklist in my head. This is my top 4 or 5 places. This is the ones the only way you can know is knowing what your choices are. And visit periodically, because there's quality changes. What's a good placement today may not be 2 years from now. Depends on the staff and all of these kind of things. But I always have my checklist. Do I ever want to go into placement? No. But would I rather go where I want to go than where I don't want to go? Given my options, absolutely.